I moved to this great state 6 months ago, okay? And I gotta tell you, as I opened with, you guys have done it right. And it's you, and it's you, and it's you, and it's you, and it's everyone in this room, and it's that Florida man knew something that the rest of us had forgotten, or maybe we never knew. And I promise you that I am here to keep Florida, Florida. And I'm also here to support this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Ron DeSantis, everybody. Governor Ron DeSantis!
Florida, our governor is red, white, and blue. Oh, down in sweet Florida, he's shooting us straight, telling us the truth. Yeah, that's right.
All right, people, it is June 6th, 2022. I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. We are live streaming on Rumble, on YouTube, and on Blaze TV. And yes, that was a couple days ago, June 2nd to be exactly, in Orlando, Florida, the home of Disney. That was the last show for the Don't Burn This Country tour. And that guy was nice enough to join me on stage, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and basically brought down the house, sold out, 1,000 people. It was just an awesome show. It was an incredible way to end a wildly successful tour. And I'm finally home for a little bit and very excited to be back here and back in studio with you guys and back live and all that good stuff, so we can sort of focus in and get back to doing what we do best. But it was really just great. So I want to talk a little bit about the show with Ron DeSantis, some of the protesters, because we had the tolerant and diverse leftist loony people outside and inside repeatedly interrupting the event because, you know, they're so tolerant and decent, and they're open and honest, and they just, you know, all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about some of the things that Ron DeSantis is doing right here in Florida. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that Joe Biden is doing wrong all across America. And by the way, the full interview that I did with Governor DeSantis, about 45 minutes, will be up across all platforms. I think we're putting some of that up. Is that later today? Or is that, yeah, some of that's going up later today. And then, by the way, we just decided that the 45 minutes that I did beforehand, my solo talk, it's part stand-up, it's part messing with the crowd, it's part lecture, it's a lot of parts. We are going to put that up as a special on Locals exclusively. Should be up in the next couple weeks. We'll have more on that. Oh, and by the way, I wasn't going to announce this till tomorrow, but I'm feeling good about things. On July 14th, even though we're ending the tour is over. We had a great book tour. It was really, really great. But the one thing that we did not do was do a show in my new hometown of Miami. So we have just added a Miami stop. I think I'm going to do a live Rubin Report. Like, we'll write the entire show that day. It'll be different than anything else that we've done. We'll do it with some video and clips and all that good stuff at the Miami Improv on July 14th. We just added that. You can go to daverubin.com/events. All right, let's get to the show real quick, though. I want to talk to you guys about Relief Band. Are Joe Biden and the Democrats' disastrous policies making you nauseous? I know they're making me nauseous. Did you know that 1 out of 3 Americans regularly suffer from nausea? But there's a solution. You've got to check out Relief Band. Relief Band's the FDA's #1 cleared anti-nausea wristband that has been clinically proven to quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. How it works is Relief Band stimulates a nerve in the wrist that travels to the part of the brain that controls nausea. Then it blocks the signal your brain is sending to your stomach telling you that you're sick. It's like the name says, it's legitimately a band that you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea and anxiety, and you change the intensity depending on how you're feeling. It's that simple. The technology was originally developed over 20 years ago in hospitals to relieve nausea from patients, but now through a Relief Band, it's available to the masses. Plus, it's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, and provides all-natural, long-lasting relief with 0 side effects for as long as needed. And they've just released their newest model, Relief Band Sport. The Sport is waterproof, has extended battery life, and can even attach to your Apple or Android watch. So if you're finally taking that summer trip or just nauseous from everything going on in the world, I've got good news. Right now, you can join over the 100,000 Relief Band users with this exclusive offer just for Rubin Report listeners. Go to reliefband.com, use promo code Rubin. You'll receive 20% off plus free shipping and a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. RELIEFBAND.com. Use promo code Rubin for 20% off plus free shipping. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what happened in Orlando. First, I think we've got some video of... No, we're going to do something else? Okay, let's do something else. We got some images we're going to start with. Here's a couple images of the event. It was really just fantastic. So, yeah, about 1,000 people at the Plaza Live right there in Disney country. And let me tell you that during the VIP meet and greet after the show, well, first, let's get to this next image. Let's go one more image. I think we got one more here. Do we have there's me and the Gov, and then there's one more. We got the Brandon one. We got the Brandon. There we go. I gave the man a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt on stage. He kept calling. I didn't know he was going to do this. I know he calls Joe Biden Brandon a lot, but he just kept saying it. He actually never said Biden or Joe Biden or the president. He just kept saying Brandon. So I give out t-shirts during the show, and I gave him, that's an official Rubin Report Let's Go Brandon t-shirt, which you can get at daverubin.store, by the way. But anyway, it was just an absolutely great event, and all we talked about was freedom and liberty and limited government and all of that good stuff. There was no racism. There was no bigotry. Protesters did come into the event and repeatedly interrupt the governor, and they plan it. You know, these people, they really are organized. And I always say, you got to give the devil his due. They don't just show up and scream. They time it out. So one will go up and scream, and then they get kicked out, and then they time it so 5 minutes later, someone else goes up and screams something else. They always have their phones. They try to make it seem like they're the victim. I'm not going to show any of the videos that they posted or any of their tweets. Several of them were actual people either running for office in Florida or people that are local officials, and they feel that they can use their free speech to infringe on someone else's free speech. But let's jump ahead to this locals community breakfast image. So the next morning, this is about 100 people from the locals community who showed up. I paid for breakfast for everybody, and we got to meet real people. Look at those smiling, happy people. And that really has been the beauty of the entire tour more than anything else. And the beauty of moving to Florida and seeing happy people again, getting out there and ignoring all the crazy lunatics. We're going to show you some video of the people outside. I'll show you the people outside. I'm not going to show you the people inside. But I just want to tell you one or two things sort of more on the DL side of meeting the governor. I've met him a few times, but getting to spend a little more time with him. So we're backstage before the event, and he's just in the green room, solo actually, and they asked me to go in. So I go in, we're chatting for a couple minutes, and he's asking me about the kids and about David, and then David came in, and then a couple of my team members came in, and I introduced him to everybody. I said, hey, this is Connor, my director, this is Michael, my producer, this is Phoenix, my associate producer. And he goes, Phoenix, your associate producer, isn't that the guy in the book? And yes, there's a story in the book about Phoenix, how he was my intern and I offered him a job because I said, you don't need to go to college anymore. Let me just give you a job. And in the book, he actually goes back to college, but then the book got printed and then he decided to drop out of college and come work for us and move down to Miami. But it was just so cool. It was like the guy obviously read the book. I mentioned somebody's name and he's like, oh, you're the guy from the book. So it's like, this guy's not faking it. Like he actually cares about this stuff. He's actually doing his homework. He's reading books and all of that good stuff. And the event was just, it was just spectacular. Like it really was just spectacular. But the proof is in the pudding. And as I said earlier, we are going to show you the full video a little bit later. Now we've got some video that we're going to show them right now. Oh, let's do some protesters. We got some protesters outside. Take a look. Okay, so there are a couple of protesters outside. Now, again, I said a bunch of them bust in and they interrupt the talk and they feel that they can use their speech to infringe on your speech. But these fools, in the middle of Pride Month, they are protesting a guy who happens to be gay. It's the least interesting thing about me, and it's something that I wish I didn't have to talk about. I only have to talk about it because of these ridiculous people. But we say gay, as the governor is on stage with a gay guy in Orlando, home of Disney. after he sent us 2 onesies for the upcoming babies that we're going to have. And it's like, they're just ridiculous. They are just absolutely ridiculous. Let's zoom in on one of the photos because, they take photos, right? So they're very upset about homophobia. They were also very angry about Governor DeSantis and guns, even though there's no problems here in Florida about that. But they take smiley pictures together. And then, of course, Rubin sucks too. That's what they wrote there. And I felt that was a very homophobic thing to say. That's how ridiculous, absolutely, completely bananas ridiculous these people are. But it's not just the people in Florida. I mean, this is what I said on stage. It's like, imagine living in Florida, the freest state in the union, the place that stayed open, the place that's just absolutely flourishing right now, thriving, and the economy and just everything is going so well here. But you know what? If you want to find problems, you'll always find problems, right? Like if you just are always focused on there is something to be angry about, there is something to be aggrieved about, there is something wrong with society, well, of course, you're always going to find it. There is nothing that is perfect. But it is so obvious that this is by a long stretch, this is the best place to live right now. And these people who have it so good, they want to take down the guy that has been leading it. But it's not just here. This is from the Daily News. Look at this. We just saw this morning. So this was posted by a guy by the name of Senator Brad Hollyman, who is a state senator apparently in New York. As LGBTQ elected officials, we demand that Chelsea Piers in New York City cancel the event with Don't Say Gay Florida Governor Ron DeSantis during Pride Month 2022 in Chelsea, the heart of our community. And there's a picture of Chelsea Piers. Now, let me tell you something about Chelsea Piers, okay? Chelsea Piers is this huge, awesome sports facility on the west side, on the Hudson River in New York City. Chelsea Piers, I don't want to brag, people. Connor, Daphne, you're going to find out something about me today. Many years ago, I played in the New York City Gay Men's Basketball League, okay? And I was most improved player. About 7 years, right? No, it was more than 7 years ago. About 9 years ago, I was most improved player. I was already in my late 30s, and I was most improved player. Okay, so these people are just completely ridiculous. As you guys know, it's not Don't Say Gay. Just as easily could have called it Don't Say Straight. You don't want teachers talking about sexuality and gender identity and all of this nonsense. And these people are actually, I would argue, at this point, these leftist clowns, these LGBT LMNOP people, are doing more damage to gay rights and equality and everything else than anyone really on the right is at this point, I would say, because they're jamming it in everyone's faces. And that's not a sex joke, but that's what they're doing. Well, I guess it was a sex joke. That's what they're doing. People just want to live and let live. People want adults to be in whatever relationship they want. People want to have religious liberty, and you make choices and other people make choices. That's the exchange that we've done really well in the United States. But these people that protest the people who are pushing for freedom are absolutely ridiculous. But show his tweet one more time. He's very concerned. This is happening in New York City. This is happening in New York City during Pride Month. I'm very upset about this, and it's happening in Chelsea Piers, and all the gays live in Chelsea, and Ron DeSantis obviously doesn't like gays. Well, here's an image of Ron DeSantis with me and my husband. Yeah, there you go. Look how much he hates gays. There he is, sandwiched between 2 gays. It's just exhausting. It's just exhausting because it's an alternate reality. There's a reality. There is reality, and you guys live in reality. And by the way, as I just said, we did this locals meetup, this breakfast, and people consistently say what is to me the nicest thing you can possibly say to me, which is you help keep me sane. And then I always say to them, well, you help keep me sane, so we're even. And these other people, they live in an alternate reality. They live in a reality where that man who was asking me and my husband about our kids is the number one homophobe, and they are trying to protest him and stop him from speaking. God, I don't like you people. Let's talk about real estate agents I trust, because I want to talk about people I like. You know that buying or selling a home is already one of the most stressful things you can do. It's more stressful than even protesting Ron DeSantis. And it can be 10 times worse if you're not working with the right agent. Generally speaking, our homes are our biggest investment. That's a lot of responsibility, and you need an agent who takes that seriously. That's why I recommend Real Estate Agents I Trust. They work with only the best agents in every market. They do their homework, talking to every agent before inviting them to join their network. And here's a big one. They only work with full-time pros, no part-time or inexperienced agents. Plus, it's owned by my buddy Glenn Beck. Their team makes the intro and then follows you through the buying or selling process to make sure that you're satisfied. The agents they work with have long track records and are the best sellers in their field. They're part of this audience. They share your values, and they're almost anywhere you want to go, including Orlando, Florida. The process is simple. Just go to realestateagentsitrust.com today and provide them with some basic info. Their team will contact you to make an introduction to their preferred agent in your town. And now back to me. You know, an interesting point. So we do the meet and greet after. And not, people are saying, okay, you keep me saying all this other stuff. There were about 1,000 people at the event. It was a huge meet and greet. We opened it up to a lot more people. So I don't know, maybe 150 or 200 people in that. I met about 10 people who work for Disney. So this meme out there that everyone who works at Disney is some blue-haired, hysterical leftist lunatic. It was probably 10, it might have been even a dozen employees of Disney who said that a ton of people hate what's going on there. They don't stand for any of this nonsense or any of that stuff. So that was actually quite refreshing. Anyway, the whole talk with DeSantis, as I said, will be up a little bit later today. You will hear some good ideas, but we must juxtapose good ideas with bad ideas. And speaking of bad ideas, here's Joe Biden.
Since I took office, families are carrying less debt. Their average savings are up. A recent survey from the Federal Reserve found that more Americans feel financially comfortable than any time since the survey began in 2013.
Do I even have to add anything to that? Like, that is some Jen Psaki level lying. Yeah? Are you feeling more financially comfortable? Everyone knows a recession's about to hit. Mark my words. Guys, make a note of this one. Mark my words, a recession is coming. Everyone knows it. It's probably coming in late June, early July, mid-July, something like that. But in effect, it's here. The price of everything is up. I've told you many times, I got a whole bunch of workers in my house right now. Windows, screws, 2x4s, plywood. You all know this, the price of cars, the shortage when it comes to baby formula, all of the stuff. Go buy chicken breast at the store. Is it more expensive or less expensive? Is your dollar going further or less far? Is gas up or down? Like, every single thing that he just said there is a lie. Now, again, I get it. Joe Biden is an old, confused man pretending to be president. He's not in charge, and he's just reading what someone puts in front of him, and he has he's simply not in touch with reality, and he is a shell of the whatever that guy was, the guy that's been in government for 47 years. But it's just a perfect example of how everything that they say is a lie. We've shifted into this weird thing where the regime and the regime media, the Democratic establishment and their media cohorts, and virtually everyone in the Democrat Party, all they can do is lie. They cannot do anything else because they're so deep in the morass of their own BS. And it's not just that they lie about everything, they exaggerate about everything, they confuse all of the issues and everything else. Here's New York Representative Mondaire Jones saying the quiet part out loud about a little something.
Enough of your thoughts and prayers, enough. Enough. You will not stop us from advancing the Protecting Our Kids Act today. You will not stop us from passing it in the House next week, and you will not stop us there. If the filibuster obstructs us, we will abolish it. If the Supreme Court objects, we will expand it, and we will not rest until we have taken weapons of war out of circulation in our communities.
Okay, so everyone that is in the government, whether you're a congressman, whether you're a senator, whether you're the president, et cetera, you are sworn in to protect the Constitution of the United States. That's what you're sworn in to do. And if you do not do that, you are in dereliction of your duties and you should be impeached or removed. Now, I get it that the machine doesn't really work right. It doesn't work right. It doesn't work like that. But what that guy just said, and this is just standard progressive nonsense. What is he doing? He's very, very angry, right? He's very angry, and he has righteous indignation, and I'm right because I'm angry, and I'm so angry that obviously I'm right. That's the double logic, right? That's the circular logic that these guys use, and they use this with absolutely everything. But you will not stop us, you people who do not agree with us. You will not stop us, and not only will you not stop us, the machine itself, the structure of the United States, the laws that we all must abide by to be here, the 250-year-old documents that were set up to free people and have done it in an absolutely extraordinary way, we will destroy those things if possible. We will destroy the Supreme Court and the separation of powers and the three branches of government by packing the court if necessary so it can do legislatively what we cannot do right now. We will destroy every piece of the thing if you do not do what we want. I don't know how you could be in more dereliction of your duties to do that, of the oath of office that you swore. I assure you that Donald Trump never threatened to break down a branch of government. But this is mainstream stuff in the Democrat Party. There will be no Democrat that will say, yeah, guys, that's a bit of a bridge too far to try to take out one of the branches of government. They're just going to keep going with it and keep going with it. But let's move on to video of Jake Tapper over on CNN, because there's a lot of things happening right now. It's not just about guns. It's about the economy. It's about the whole thing. Take a look.
Two things sure stand out in this new poll. One, the economy, a top priority. And two, Americans disapprove of President Biden's handling of this more than ever before.
Yeah, and those two things together spell a tough political environment for Democrats, the president and his party. Take a look here. Most important issue, it's by far, Jake, 50% of people in this poll say the economy is the most important issue facing the country. Russia-Ukraine war at 14%, immigration at 10%. Everything else in single digits. We should note this poll was completed just before that bombshell news from the Supreme Court on abortion. Biden's handling of that number one issue only at a 34% approval rating on the economy, 66% disapprove. And that number there, Jake, that's been going down since our poll earlier this year. He was at 37% approval on the economy. Now he's down to 34%. And in terms of Biden's policies, look at this. A majority of Americans in this poll, 55%, say Biden's policies have actually worsened economic conditions. 26% no effect. Only 19% of Americans in this poll say Biden's policies have improved conditions.
Okay, so this is actually kind of good, right? That is the corporate press acknowledging what we can all see, that something is not right now, right? I should have shown you that one right after the Biden clip that we showed you a moment ago. Because Biden is saying one thing in terms of the economy and how much money you have, and then the polls and then the reality that we're all seeing are very, very different. So now I want to jump back. I'm going a little herky-jerky today, but just follow along. Here is another Democrat. This is Rhode Island Representative David Cicilline. And he doesn't like the Constitution either.
So spare me the bullshit about constitutional rights.
Will the gentleman yield?
No, I will not yield. And I'm not going to yield for my entire 5 minutes, so don't ask again.
You get it? You get it? He's very angry. He doesn't care about your constitutional rights. And believe people when they tell you what they are. That's really, I suppose, the theme today. There is no one left in the Democrat Party that is a moderate. I am not talking about your aunt who thinks that the Democrat Party is the Democrat Party of 1996 Bill Clinton. And I am not talking about your grandma who thinks that it's the Democrat Party of JFK. There is no one left. Simply nobody left. And no one will stop this thing. It is taking over the entire thing. And as I often say, you don't have to be a Republican, but you cannot be a Democrat. However, you probably should be a Republican at this point. And now, again, with our herky-jerky motions today, they lie about everything. They lie about everything and they obfuscate about everything. Here's Gay Pete. And Gay Pete, he feels that Biden's doing pretty good.
Americans feel gas prices just about more than anything else. We're seeing $5 a gallon, approaching $5 a gallon across the country right now as we head into the summer vacation season. Earlier this year, the president tapped the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Hasn't made any difference at all. Was that a failure?
Well, look, I don't think it's correct to say it hasn't made any difference at all. This is an action that helped to stabilize global oil prices. The action the president took around ethanol, introducing additional flexibility there, that's having an effect on prices in the Midwest. But we also know that the price of gasoline is not set by a dial in the Oval Office.
He's just nothing. Gay Pete is just a suit. He's just a suit with talking points. That's all he is. First off, gas prices have doubled since Joe Biden took office. When he kept calling this thing Putin's price hike, we've covered this many times, gas was already up over $1 a gallon in the year before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So anytime anything goes well, they want credit for it. But when things go not well, Joe Biden doesn't have a dial. He can't do anything. But the craziness from these people, and I guess that really is the theme of the show today, is sort of like, after I spent 45 minutes with probably the sanest guy in America, Ron DeSantis, and just like honest, clear policies, just like the collection of just like insanity all over the place it's just so freaking obvious right now, and it's absolutely everywhere. It's not just our political leaders, and it's not just these, I don't even want to call these people leaders. It's not just these awful politicians who want to lie to you or destroy the Constitution and destroy the country. And it's not just the media that occasionally gets some things right. It's also our corporations. The corporations have gone all in on this woke nonsense, as you know. And now, I grew up on Long Island, okay? Now, on Long Island, there's a tradition of good pizza. We have good pizza. The idea that you would go to Pizza Hut, let's say, in Long Island is crazy. You would never go to a chain, right? You go to Mario's, you go to Luigi's, basically someone who was in a Nintendo game. That's the name of the pizza place that you're going to go to. That would be the same thing if you're in Jersey, something like that. But Pizza Hut is a pizza chain. I get it. It's throughout the country. And they're really into the drag queens these days. Take a look at this. This is a tweet. To commemorate Pride Month, Pizza Hut is recommending books to children about drag queens. This is from the Post Millennial. And you can see Big Wig by Jonathan Hillman, who I don't know who he is. That is one of the books that Pizza Hut is now recommending, because as you get your crappy generic pizza with their cheese-filled crust, which does anyone like the cheese-filled crust? It's enough. It's enough already, right? You really want to also learn about gender and sexuality and cross-dressing and drag queens from your fast food pizza place. Insanity. But I've got more insanity. We've got another one from the Post Millennial. Here's what's going on over in Cali. A proposed California bill to authorize heroin injection sites passed its final committee approval earlier this week and heads to the state assembly. This is what is happening across blue states and blue cities all over the place. We showed you last week that billboard in New York City in the subway where they're basically promoting heroin. They're basically saying, hey, if you're on heroin, don't feel guilty about heroin. Just make sure you're doing it okay. Do it safe, right? And here they're going to put more heroin sites in California. California, the shithole which I fled. Los Angeles, the dump, which this guy fled and this lady fled. Daphne, by the way, is in studio today. Michael and Phoenix they're both a little under the weather. I don't want to freak people out. It happens. It's okay. I'm not going to force them to be injected with heroin or a vaccine or anything else. Hope you guys are doing well. But my entire team fled that craptastic place because of the heroin that was everywhere, because of the needles that were everywhere, because of the homeless that was everywhere, because of the crime that was everywhere, and the shooting and the garbage and all of that stuff. But they just want more and more and more and more. And not only do they want more, they're also prepping their own audience to not accept the results of the next election. I know they like to say that we are all conspiracy theorists. Right? They had 4 years of Trump where they said he was illegitimate, he was a Russian asset, Facebook somehow installed him, all of the nonsense that they pushed for 4 years. That's what they said. Then the second Trump dares question the election, or other people question the election, or Dinesh D'Souza makes a documentary about it, et cetera, where everyone else is a conspiracy theorist, we should be banned from Twitter, kicked off Facebook and everything else. But they are prepping their audience right now. So this is video from MSNBC, which is a televised mental institution. This is a woman by the name of Tiffany Cross. Don't know who she is. I guess she's a host over there. And they know, see, the thing is, they know that right now, because of the horrible Biden numbers, there is going to be a crazy red wave. But as I always say, you can't get too excited about that, or you can't be too overconfident, because God knows what they could do right before we get COVID-2, we get monkeypox 8, Russia drops a nuke. They could just do anything, right? So you can't get too overconfident. But they're prepping their audience to not accept the results of the election because they really do fear that there's going to be a red wave. And it'll be okay when they question the results. Take a look.
bombshell new reporting from Politico detailing just how deep the Republican plot goes when it comes to trying to subvert the midterms this November and, of course, the general election in 2024. Now, according to the recordings of Republican Party operatives, this was obtained by Politico, their plan includes a multi-pronged strategy. This plan to subvert the election should not come as a surprise. They've been telling us since they lost in 2020. They know their policies are trash. They know they can't win election on the merits. So it sure looks like at this point they're going to cheat because they're telling us they're going to cheat to make sure they win instead.
It's an absolute mental institution up there. But do you see what they're doing? They're prepping their people. They're prepping them to not accept the results of the election in case they don't get the results that they want. She's saying their policies are trash. Okay, how are the policies of the Biden administration going when it comes to, say, foreign policy, when it comes to economic policy, when it comes to literally anything? Literally anything. How are those things going? Not well, lady. But this is what they're doing. So I show you that just to be aware of the tricks, right? If we know their full bag of tricks, we'll be able to fight back. And speaking of fighting back, this is how we will put a nice bow on today's show, bringing it back to where we started. Let's start with this Ron DeSantis guy again. How do we fight back? Well, you call out the nonsense whenever you see it. Ron DeSantis a couple days ago.
What has he done since he came into office? He immediately waged war against American energy production. You see record gas prices in the United States? Well, that's a big reason why, because of his policies. You look at what they did in terms of fiscal and monetary, printing and borrowing trillions and trillions of dollars. What did you get for that? The most sustained inflation this country has seen in over 40 years. He advocated for and imposed mandates and restrictions related to COVID, including having people fired from their job based on getting a COVID jab or not. That has had a hugely negative impact on the economy, and he failed to take leadership and take decisive action to alleviate the supply chain crisis that we've seen really beguiling not only this country but places around the world.
Clear, clean, honest, calling it out for what it is, and instituting better policies. That's what we're doing right here in the free state of Florida. We got one more DeSantis for you. This is one of the craziest things that Joe Biden, or the man pretending to be Joe Biden, or the man that was Joe Biden, has been up to. They want to deny school lunches for states that refuse to implement gender ideology. Yes, really. They want to punish states that will not play along with their woke gender nonsense. DeSantis ain't having any of it.
We're prepared for what Biden throws our way. And, yes, part of it's the inflation and the gas. Part of it are intentionally destructive policies, like trying to deny school lunch programs for states that don't do transgender ideology in the schools. I mean, give me a break. Totally off his rocker to be doing that. We're fighting on that. Don't worry. So we're just prepared to be able to defend the taxpayers and the hardworking people in the state of Florida. And I couldn't be prouder for doing that.
And I couldn't be prouder to be a citizen of the free state of Florida. That's how you fight back. By the way, guys, it is Meme Monday over at the Rubin Report Locals community. Here's what I put up. A full list of scenarios where giving up your rights will make you safer. And zero. There ain't jack on there. You can join us at rubinreport.locals.com. And I just want to say, for all of you that I met in Orlando, the locals community I'm talking about specifically, the 100 or so of you that came to breakfast, it's like, that's what it's all about. Talking to a camera is one thing. Tweeting at people is one thing. Texting, videos, all that stuff. Meeting all the people. And so many of you gave me candles and tequila. A lot of you gave me tequila. But candles and tequila and baby clothes and cookies and chocolate. What else did people give me? They gave me a hand-painted, amazing art from people, from their kids, and just like so much great stuff. And I am like, I was going to say Blanche Devereaux, but I'm like Blanche Dubois. I rely on the kindness of strangers, but you're not strangers to me. So you guys can play along at rubinreport.locals.com. My full interview with Orlando Magic star Jonathan Isaac is up right now. Full interview with Dinesh D'Souza is up across platforms right now. We'll see how long YouTube lets us keep that one up. We shall see about that. And we're going to cold close with the same thing that we did on the cold open there, just the intro for Ron DeSantis, just so you can feel some of that energy. But as I said, the full interview will be up later today, or some of the clips I think are going up later today, and the full will be out later this week. Yeah, and then my talk will be going up as a special, and I promise you, you will laugh, you will cry. It has a little bit of everything. Anyway, that's Monday for you. Get your week off to a good start. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy each other. I feel like I'm Jerry Springer. You know, I remember Jerry Springer at the end of the show. Be good to each other, okay? All right, get out of here.
I moved to this great state 6 months ago, okay? And I gotta tell you, as I opened with, you guys have done it right. And it's you, and it's you, and it's you, and it's you, and it's everyone in this room. And it's that Florida man knew something that the rest of us had forgotten, or maybe we never knew. And I promise you that I am here to keep Florida, Florida. And I'm also here to support this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Ron DeSantis, everybody. Governor Ron DeSantis!
Florida, our governor is red, white, and blue. Oh, down in sweet Florida, he's shooting us straight, telling us the truth.